Welcome to Salsido Paranormal. I'm your host, James Salsido, and tonight I am talking about haunted places in the U.S. As always, you can find all episodes of the show along with links to social media, ways to listen, and ways to support the show at the website, which is salsidoparanormal.com. That's SALSIDO paranormal.com. And there's many different ways to support the show. You can always share the show with others and rate and review it on your favorite podcast platform. You can sign up for the Patreon page and get extra content there for as little as $1 a month. You can also check out the merchandise store and get all kinds of shirts and then some other items with featuring designs made by friends of the show. And support is never expected, but always appreciated, as there are expenses in making these shows. Please also check out the links in every episode description for friends of the show. That would be Jen, the Arcane Observer, who has her own channel and is also the co-host of this show on Saturdays whenever possible. And Michael Strange of Trouble Minds Radio and the Trouble Minds Radio Network, KUAP, Digital Broadcasting, where you can hear all kinds of amazing shows as well as my own online 24/7. And I think that takes care of that. A couple of things when it comes to these haunted places shows here. Any location I talk about, please, if you're thinking about going there and visiting, make sure it's okay to do that and find out what the right times and dates and all those things. And because I do not recommend trespassing for any number of reasons. Also, be aware that the information I have may be older, so yeah, that's why I say that about the checking on the location, see if it's still okay to visit. And some places may be private residences by the time either this information comes out or by the time you actually are able to check on the place. Things do change and get different owners and things like that. Uh, so I will be including a couple of articles about every location I talk about in this show in the episode description. So you can check those out and see pictures of the place in some cases. And then also, if you want to find out more, start your own research and find more articles and pictures and all these things. So yeah, this is just a brief overview of a handful of locations in each state in the U.S. And eventually we will do locations in other countries as well. That'll be like the next series I do. So uh, on this topic. So we are in the middle of the state of Delaware here, going in alphabetical order as far as states go. And again, trying out this new format where I just get a summary of a location and mostly just read that and comment as I go. And hopefully hopefully you all enjoy it. So this first place we'll talk about in this episode is, and I'm not sure if I'm going to say this right, Lums Pond State Park in Bear, Delaware. And it's the largest freshwater pond in the state and is well known for both its historical significance and its haunted reputation. Let me check on something real quick. I thought I saw something in the chat about the. Okay, nope, never mind. I was just seeing what was already there for the recording. Anyway, technology is fun when it works. So Lum's Pond was created in the early 19th century by the Chesapeake and Delaware Canal Company to supply water for the locks of the canal, as well as for water power for a local mill. The pond and land are named for the Lum family, who operated a mill there from the 18th century onward. And the historic Lum's Mill House, built around 1720s to the 1800s, that's kind of a large range, remains within the park and is listed on the National Register of Historic Places. The state acquired the land in the mid 20th century, officially opening Lum's Pond State Park to the public in 1953. The park spans over 1,790 acres and offers a variety of recreational activities such as hiking, boating, fishing, and camping. Lum's Pond State Park's most infamous legend involves the murder of a young woman in the 1870s, said to have occurred near the woods now known as the Swamp Trail. Again, keep in mind this is according to legend, so hopefully this didn't happen. Uh, According to the local legend and historical reports, the young woman ran away from home, sought shelter near Lum's Pond, and was tragically murdered by a man camping in the woods. And the killer was never found. Visitors on Swamp Trail have reported sudden cold spots, mysterious screams, and pleas for help, particularly at quiet times in the woods. Excuse me. These phenomena are attributed to the restless spirit of the victim. I always wonder about that, and when these things happen, because especially when there's cases, and this one does mention historical, so maybe there's evidence I'm not aware of, but especially in cases where there's no evidence or no historical record, um, what is causing the activity? Is it again the collective thoughts of everyone that was told this legend over decades or centuries, somehow forming a some kind of sentient thought form? Is it some other some other paranormal activity, some other entity that is becomes aware of this legend and takes over that role, takes on that role? I don't know. Anyway, back to the summary here. Some accounts also mention apparitions and other strange sounds attributed to mill workers or slaves who may have died in the area during the Underground Railroad era. The Lum family itself is part of ghost lore, with sightings of the father and son working on the old mill or wandering the park grounds, as well as reports of sounds like running water wheels with no visible source. That's fascinating as well. That sounds like maybe a residual thing. The haunted tales are so pervasive that some visitors debate whether they are brave enough to camp overnight. Uh, in summary, Lum's Pond State Park combines. So I think I'm going to stop reading that because it's not really necessary. This in summary part, talking about the show process here as I go, but I think I'm going to stop reading those because I don't think it's necessary. So yeah, that's that location. Um, and again, sounds like a lot of activity there, and it's near water. Again, this connection with a lot of things paranormal and water. Speaking of that, uh, this next location is known as Maggie's Bridge, which is in Seaford, or near Seaford and Woodland Ferry in Delaware. So this is uh, the site of one of the state's most chilling and persistent ghost stories, centered around the tragic death of I'll just say Maggie, the first name, in the Maggie Bloxam in the late 1800s. So, according to the historical background, Maggie was a young woman killed in a horse and carriage accident along Woodland Church Road, about a mile south of the Woodland Ferry entrance near Seaford. The the tale recounts that Maggie's horse was spooked while crossing the bridge, causing the carriage to crash into the water below. Maggie was that goes into details about that. So that we don't need to go into as far as the death. Local records confirm a grave, excuse me, for a Maggie Bloxham in a nearby cemetery, supporting the historical roots of the legend. The story of Maggie's Bridge is an enduring urban legend with multiple iterations, and this happens with a lot of bridges as well. So, according to one, to summon Maggie's spirit, visitors stand on the bridge at midnight and call out her name uh, repeatedly. And then also, which the part I don't like about a lot of these, saying things which I do not recommend, like Maggie, I have your baby, because she was some of the historical evidence does point to her possibly being pregnant. Witnesses report hearing horse hooves, seeing spectral shadows emerge from the woods, and encountering the apparition of Maggie uh, holding her severed head because she was decapitated, uh, or searching for her lost baby. Again, these are legends as far as the apparitions go and some of these things, so hopefully that's not the case. But it wouldn't be the first time that the headless apparition has been seen. On rare occasions, especially during a blue moon, locals claim to see lights, feel cold breezes, and experience malfunctioning vehicles, cars failing to start, or radios behaving erratically. This is odd because some of these same things with the devices, it's not just a ghost sort of just a ghost related phenomenon. Uh, when it comes to vehicles and electronics and devices not working well, it's also associated, of course, with UFOs or UAP, however you want to call it now, and the possibility of aliens. Again, just alien to me just means unknown or unfamiliar. So I find that possible similarity or connection to be fascinating as well. Are some of these places do multiple kinds of things happen there? Not because so much of the events that happen there with people who may have unfortunately passed away there or died there, but also just because of the natural uh, the surroundings, the environment, the water, the makeup of the ground, all these things. Paranormal investigators regularly visit the site and have reported mysterious voices, crying, and blue orbs near the bridge. The bridge is also called Crybaby Bridge, drawing parallel to other haunted bridges with legends of uh, wailing female spirits. Also, I've heard that name, Crybaby Bridge, attached to at least one other, and so I'm wondering how many there are out there that are given that name. Let me see here. So, teenagers and thrill seekers have long painted graffiti on the bridge, reflecting decades of fascination and repeated visits for supernatural encounters. And Maggie's Bridge is found on Woodland Church Road in the wooded area between Seaford and the Woodland Ferry, crossing a branch of the Nanticoke River. Probably saying that wrong. I apologize. Its reputation as Delaware's most haunted road makes it a favorite uh, destination for local folklore enthusiasts and paranormal groups. So that's where that basically ends. I would just say keep in mind it's a bridge, so be careful. Don't be parking in the middle of it just to get paranormal activity. Be safe as always. And so, yeah, I guess that's where that one ends. That location. We're done with that one for now. So yeah, and that's a road. So like I said, just be careful uh, when it comes to traveling and stopping and all these things. So moving on to another location here. This is Bellevue Hall in Bellevue State Park, Wilmington, Delaware. And this is a historical mansion famous for its DuPont family legacy. Uh, Big name in I think the manufacturing industries and all those, whatever you want to call them, industrial circles, yes. And its reputation for ghostly phenomena. Bellevue Hall originated as Woolton Hall, built in 1855 by wool merchant Hanson Robinson as a striking Gothic revival castle. The estate passed through several owners before being purchased by William DuPont Sr. in 1893, who expanded and established extensive horse facilities. William DuPont Jr. inherited the property in 1928, remodeled it into the Grand Colonial Revival mansion seen today, and renamed it Bellevue Hall, a replica of President Madison's Mount Pelier, which DuPont Jr. also owned. Oh, must be nice. Have multiple locations. Anyway, uh, over the years, sorry, I couldn't help it making the joke. Over the years, the DuPonts installed tennis courts, indoor outdoor horse tracks, swimming pools, and other recreational features, reflecting their passion for equestrian sports and luxury living. After William DuPont Jr.'s death in 1965, the mansion fell into disrepair, later acquired by the state of Delaware in 1976, and opened to the public as part of Bellevue State Park in 1977. Bellevue Hall is considered haunted, with numerous accounts from staff, visitors, and investigators. The most frequent paranormal reports include the following: the sound of a child crying, captured by investigators in the basement when no children were present; apparitions seen out of the corner of the eye, including shadowy figures and floating glimpses of disembodied faces. That's always quite the thing to see. Unexplained noises such as tapping, footsteps, and voices answering questions during paranormal investigations. That's fascinating. Sometimes audible only on recordings, so as EVPs, electronic voice phenomenon. Some stories attribute the hauntings to former DuPont family residents, domestic staff, or even the original owners, but no single legend dominates the lore. The mansion and grounds have been a long-time focus of local paranormal groups, with some public ghost tours offered on occasion. Bellevue Hall today serves as a public event venue, open for tours and educational programs, retaining both historic grandeur and supernatural intrigue. The estate's Gothic and colonial revival architecture, gardens, and haunted reputation make it a popular draw for history buffs and paranormal enthusiasts alike. So that's basically where that one ends. Uh, so that's a lot of activity there going on. The responses to um, questions is always fascinating to me. So um, let's see here. Let's see if we can squeeze this one in here. Next location is the Addy C. That's ADDY and then C in Bethany Beach, Delaware. It's a Victorian inn on the ocean front with a rich history and strong haunted reputation. It was built by John M. Addy around 1901 to 1902 as a summer retreat, and it was among the first area homes with indoor plumbing and gas lights. The Addy family initially used it as a personal residence, but during the Great Depression began renting rooms, including to church groups. Um, Over the years, the inn changed hands and is now run as an adults only bed and breakfast that retains much of its early 20th century character. Room, so it talks here about rooms and the things that happen there. Room 1 is famous for its copper bathtub, which many guests claim shakes violently when in use with no clear cause. Room 6, guests and staff report hearing uh, phantom organ music in the absence of any organ in the building. That's fascinating. Room 11, said to be haunted by Paul Delaney, a former handyman whose apparition is sometimes seen sitting or standing by the bed. Uh, so let's see here. It says that, no, I guess this must be another room. Curdy Addy? Footsteps on the roof and other unexplained sounds are attributed to the ghost of a family member by that name who reportedly died after falling from the building. Guests have also reported the smell of perfume in empty rooms, mysterious music, and an apparition dashing through the halls. Some visitors hear footsteps or laughter at night, especially in the halls and on the roof. On rare occasions, people mention objects moving or a strange coldness in the room. The ADC appears frequently on lists of Delaware's most haunted places or hotels and is regularly featured in local haunted history tours and travel guides. Despite, or perhaps because of, its paranormal reputation, it remains a popular and well reviewed destination for both beachgoers and paranormal enthusiasts. So that's where that one ends. We made it through. That's good. So, and that actually is the last location I have for Delaware. So, seems like a good place to stop. It just amazes me how every state has so many locations, and I mean this is just a handful in each location, each state in the U.S. And I've only seen so far, I think, like a handful of places that I know I've heard a lot about before. Out of all these other places, most of them I've never heard of, or I've only rarely heard of them. And so again, this just makes me wonder: is this whole world just full of paranormal activity uh, throughout time, and it just there's not always people around to experience it, and or of course it doesn't happen 24/7 everywhere or on command. So, um, so yeah, just a lot of questions there, and that's why I like doing these shows. Um, so we'll be starting with Florida in the next part of this series here, and that'll do it for this episode. Thank you all for listening, and I will talk to you all next time on Salsido Paranormal. Take care.